For the world, Elvis Presley was freedom on two legs. The voice, the hips, the attitude, the man who changed music forever. Millions believed he lived without rules, without limits, without fear. But the truth was far darker. While the crowd screamed his name, Elvis was already losing control of his own life. This story is not about how he died. It is about how the most famous man on earth slowly became trapped inside a life he no longer owned. From the beginning, Elvis did not belong to himself. He belonged to an industry that saw him as a product, not a person. Every move was scheduled, every image controlled, every decision filtered through people who earned money from his obedience. Movies, tours, recordings never stopped, even when his passion did. When Elvis wanted to grow, he was told no. When he wanted to rest, he was pushed harder. Over time, he learned a dangerous lesson, that saying no was not an option. When real control disappears, the mind looks for substitutes. Elvis had no power over his schedule, his career, or the people who made decisions in his name. So he began tightening control over the only things he could touch: his environment, his habits, his inner circle. Graceland slowly transformed from a home into a sealed world. Curtains stayed closed, clocks lost relevance, days blended into nights. The outside world became distant, loud, dangerous. Inside, everything had to follow his rules: who entered, who spoke, who stayed. Control became comfort. Comfort became dependence. This was not ego. This was a man trying to feel safe in a life he no longer felt like his own. The more famous he became, the smaller his world grew. Every controlled detail gave him temporary relief, but it also pushed him further away from reality. Control did not restore his freedom, it replaced it with illusion, and the illusion slowly consumed him. Elvis was surrounded by people at all times, yet he lived in complete emotional isolation. Fame created a wall where honesty could not pass through. The people closest to him depended on his success for their own survival. Careers, income, loyalty, even identity were tied to staying in his favor. Telling the truth became risky. Disagreement felt like betrayal. Slowly, real conversations disappeared. Concerns were softened. Warnings were delayed. Silence became the safest option. Inside this bubble, Elvis stopped hearing reality and began hearing only reassurance. Isolation does not happen suddenly. It forms when truth is replaced by comfort. When everyone around you is afraid of your reaction, you stop being protected and start being exposed. Elvis did not lack people. He lacked someone willing to say stop. And without resistance, the collapse accelerated quietly, behind closed doors.
Part 5. Medication as Escape. Medication entered Elvis's life not as excess, but as relief. It was a tool to manage exhaustion, anxiety, and a body pushed far beyond its limits. Sleep needed assistance. Energy required stimulation. Emotions demanded silence. Each pill solved a problem created by a system that never allowed rest. Over time, the line between medical support and emotional escape disappeared. Medication became routine. Routine became dependence. This was not reckless behavior. It was a controlled attempt to function in a life that refused to slow down. The tragedy is that what helped him survive each day also pushed him further away from himself. Numbness replaced clarity, and escape slowly became a permanent state. Part 6. The King Without Control. Near the end, Elvis was still famous, still rich, still worshipped, but he had lost the one thing that mattered: control over himself. His body was failing. His spirit was exhausted. His choices were no longer his own. The fall did not happen in one night. It happened slowly, through years of decisions made for him. Part 7. The Real Tragedy. Elvis Presley did not die because of fame or excess. He died because he never truly owned his life. The greatest irony is that the symbol of freedom in modern music lived a life defined by control, obsession, and isolation. The king of rock and roll was destroyed, not by the world watching him, but by the world deciding who he was allowed to be.